What if Wang Yibo's latest legal battle has far less to do with money than some people online are suggesting? A new lawsuit connected to one of his most famous projects has triggered a wave of discussion, but the central issue is not whether Wang Yibo has stopped working. It is about something much more specific: how his image may have been used after his original project relationship ended. And that distinction matters. Welcome back to Celeb Buzz Insider. Today, we're taking a closer look at Wang Yibo, the lawsuit involving companies connected to the Untamed, and the two very different ways people are interpreting what this case could mean. First, let's separate what is confirmed from what is speculation. In August 2026, Wang Yibo filed a portrait rights lawsuit against 5 defendants, including New Style Media, a key production company associated with the Untamed, along with companies connected to publishing, audio products, merchandise production, and an e-commerce business. According to publicly reported court information, the case is scheduled to be heard on October 8, 2026, in Xingdu District People's Court in Suizhou, Hubei Province. The reported dispute centers on the alleged use of Wang Yibo's image beyond the original scope of the project relationship. His side reportedly argues that his portrait was used in merchandise and other commercial materials after the cooperation period had ended. Reports have also described allegations involving behind-the-scenes footage and other materials. But there is an important legal distinction here. These are allegations presented in a lawsuit, not a final court judgment. The court still has to examine the evidence, the contractual arrangements, the scope of any original authorization, and the responsibilities of each defendant. At this stage, it would be inaccurate to describe the allegations as proven facts. That brings us to the question that has generated the most debate: why would Wang Yibo take legal action now? One interpretation, which has circulated online, is that the lawsuit reflects financial pressure because he supposedly has fewer acting opportunities. That argument sounds simple, but it doesn't automatically follow from the available information. A lawsuit involving image rights does not, by itself, demonstrate that someone is financially desperate. The purpose of a portrait rights claim can be to challenge unauthorized commercial use, establish legal boundaries, or seek compensation for alleged infringement. And there is another reason this case is attracting attention. The Untamed remains one of the most recognizable projects associated with Wang Yibo's rise as an actor. Because the project has continued to generate interest years after its original release, anything involving the use of his image in related products naturally raises questions about where the commercial life of an old project ends and an individual performer's rights begin. That is where the optimistic interpretation comes in. From one perspective, Wang Yibo's decision could actually be viewed as a sign of greater control over his professional identity. An actor's image can become commercially valuable long after a drama has finished airing. Posters, cards, albums, promotional materials, archived footage, and other merchandise can continue circulating. If an artist believes that some of that usage exceeds the authorization originally granted, pursuing the matter through formal legal channels can be seen as an attempt to clarify those boundaries. In this interpretation, the lawsuit is not necessarily about Wang Yibo having fewer opportunities. It could instead be about making sure that previous work does not become an open-ended license for future commercial use of his likeness. There is also a broader industry angle. Entertainment contracts can involve complicated questions about promotional materials, archival footage, merchandising, licensing periods, and derivative products. A dispute like this can potentially draw attention to how clearly those rights are defined from the beginning. So supporters may see the case as Wang Yibo taking a more proactive approach to protecting his professional image. But there is a second, more cautious perspective. Even if the lawsuit is important, it would be premature to interpret one legal dispute as evidence of a major change in Wang Yibo's career. The absence of a publicly confirmed new drama or movie at a particular moment does not prove that an actor has been pushed out of the industry. Likewise, sponsorships, racing activities, documentaries, or other projects cannot automatically be used to prove that his acting career is either thriving or declining. Each category has to be evaluated separately. There is also a danger in reducing a complex legal case to a simple financial narrative. Saying, "he is suing because nobody hires him anymore," is a claim that requires evidence. The lawsuit itself does not establish that motive. And on the other side, saying, "This proves Wang Yibo is completely unaffected and more successful than ever," would also go beyond what the lawsuit can tell us. The more responsible conclusion is that the legal case and his career status are two separate questions. So what does Celeb Buzz Insider think is the most interesting part? It is not simply that Wang Yibo is suing companies connected to a drama from years ago. The more significant detail is the question of how long an artist's image can continue to be commercially used after the original working relationship has ended. That question becomes increasingly important in an entertainment industry where old dramas can remain popular for years, clips can circulate indefinitely, merchandise can be produced long after broadcast, and an actor's image can remain commercially valuable long after a contract was signed. If Wang Yibo's legal position is ultimately supported by the court, the case could become a useful example of how portrait rights and commercial exploitation are handled around older entertainment projects. If the defendants successfully demonstrate that the disputed uses were properly authorized, then the situation could look very different. Either way, the court process matters more than online speculation. And there is another detail worth watching. The hearing is currently scheduled for October 8th. That means the next major development may not come from another viral fan argument or social media interpretation, but from the evidence and arguments presented in court. As for the claim that Wang Yibo is financially struggling because he has no acting work, we should be careful. The available legal information does not establish that motive. At the same time, his broader career cannot be judged by acting credits alone. Wang Yibo has continued to maintain visibility across entertainment and motorsport, including participation with 85 Racing in the 2026 China GT season. At the Zhuhai round in July, his number 85 car was reported to have finished second in the GT3 AM Plus class after a post-race penalty changed the classification. That does not prove anything about his future acting career. But it does show why the picture is more complicated than a simple working versus unemployed narrative. So here is the bigger question. Could this lawsuit eventually become more than a dispute about old promotional materials? Could it help establish clearer boundaries for how performers' images are used years after a production ends? That is a possibility, not a prediction. For now, the facts are straightforward. Wang Yibo has filed a portrait rights lawsuit against 5 defendants connected to the reported dispute. The case is scheduled for October 8th, and the allegations have not yet been finally decided by the court. Everything beyond that needs to be treated carefully. And now I want to hear your take. Do you see Wang Yibo's lawsuit primarily as a normal effort to protect his image rights, or do you think the timing raises bigger questions about the direction of his acting career? Share your thoughts in the comments, but keep the discussion respectful. This is Celeb Buzz Insider, and we'll be watching the next chapter closely.